Welcome back to another edition of Home Climbing Wall TV. I'm your host, Chris Gonzalez, and this week we have a special treat because I'm going to finally show you my home wall setup. So while we walk, ignore the bad lighting and the messes, and check out our sponsor, Movement Training Co., where it is their job to help outdoor enthusiasts prepare their bodies to adventure forever. Because hey, we want to be doing all this stuff for a really long time. If you look up when you first walk in, you have the tallest wall in the gym. It's a little over 12 feet. It's 10 degrees overhanging, and I really love this wall. I also added this little side section here that you can jam yourself in, do a little bit of off-width training, and get in some awkward positions. There's also some undercling action going on in the base of that box that connects it to this wall. So this is a slab wall. It's mostly straight vertical just because there was an existing wall there and I just decided to use it. But on the top it gets a little bit overhanging and then a little bit positive sloped also. This is great for the kids and also just connecting some moves to transition into the 10-degree wall to get a little bit more pump. You'll also see over here I have the ultimate kiddie wall for my 2-year-old, which she loves this. It's a positive, let's call it 10-ish degrees. And the best part about it, in my kids' opinion, are the bells. So I've got bells on the top of this wall, bells on the top of this wall, and that really gets them psyched about climbing because there's just that instant reward of ringing the bell and knowing they did a good job. It's fun to have kind of the transition over the door. One, it's necessary because I have to get in here, but two, it just adds a little bit of features. So we'll actually use the cracks in the door on some routes or use the edges, but also just transitioning over this adds a little bit of mental spice, which is always nice. All right, so next, past the 10-degree wall on the other side, you'll notice we have a big storage deck up here. And this storage deck and the beam that attaches it over here, all of this was actually here when we moved in, and it came all the way across the 2-car side of the garage. And so I took down half of it in order to build the 10-degree wall and then the slab wall over there. But I wanted to keep the storage because that's where I keep my mountain bikes, kayaks, bins of camping and backpacking gear, all of that stuff, because I still needed my garage to function as a garage. So I also have a hatch up there that you can open and get back behind the 45-degree wall, which we'll look at next. So I have plenty of storage in this home gym, because again, it still needs to be a garage. So you transition from the 10 over here. This is a roof right here. It's kind of tricky to see, but you can run the roof all the way across, or you can hit the side wall with a volume and get some interesting movement in there. Now, when I built this, I left a little bit of space right here because again, I really like using some of the features on the wall. It keeps things a bit interesting and helps you think outside the box of just regular gym style holds. So you transition through, then you get to the 45-degree wall, which is technically 47 degrees, but don't tell anybody. So the 45-degree wall runs up into this horizontal roof, and then it runs up into a 35-degree wall section up here. One of the things I really like about this setup and the way it turned out is you can start at the base of the 10-degree wall, kind of over on this corner, or even all the way back on the slab wall, then traverse across. You can start working your way up into either the side and the volume here or up onto the ceiling over here. Take that roof across. You can hit the 45-degree wall, hit that roof, then take it all the way up into this, all the way up into the 35-degree wall. You can get a lot of moves in. And I really like that because oftentimes on a home wall, you can only get, 5 or 6 moves before you hit the top, even if it's a 12-foot wall like I have. So I really like this because you can hit 20+ moves depending on how you set it to really get a bit more pump action in to prepare you for more sport climbing stuff. And also just some of the longer highball boulder routes now, you need a lot more endurance than you do on some of the shorter, more powerful routes like I set on the 45-degree wall. So following it over, there's another kid section slash just add a little bit more slab action moving up into the 35-degree or even up into this roof and come across. And this one's really fun actually because the kids can climb up the wall onto the deck and then they like to come across and jump off into a giant pile of crash pads. And speaking of flooring, you'll notice I have, let me see if I can point this down. You'll notice I have the gym flooring. So this is actual Dolomer flooring. I have it at 3 inches, which is a little thin. So I have a copious amount of crash pads over here to add for any of the higher stuff. But I really like having this flooring because sometimes when you fall, you do miss the crash pads, and it's really nice to have this extra buffer. And it also just makes the whole gym look a little bit more complete. And I found this flooring for a steal on Facebook Marketplace. And I highly recommend, if you have the opportunity to get a flooring like this, to pick it up. So over here we have a bunch of gear kind of hanging on hooks. I have some pads stacked up here to keep from hitting the excess wood. I have the chalk buffet up there. Got Metolius, Chalk Cartel, Friction Labs, all sorts of good stuff up there. Then keep spinning around and you have the lounge area back here. So some nice floor couches, and you can move those around to use them as crash pads as well. Then we have the squat rack and weights and everything. And then some free weights, weight vests, all that sort of stuff down there, which I love having those as options, especially for lower body work, because, you know, when you're hauling in a bunch of heavy gear in the backcountry, it's nice to have strong legs. So I mainly use the weights for squats and deadlifts. I have more panels back there that I picked up for super cheap again on Marketplace. I'll eventually find a home for them, or maybe I'll rehome them to one of you. We'll see. Next we have our super tiny tool rack. So all of our hand tools for adjusting on the fly. If you have spinners during a session, I of course have a screw gun and all that stuff for when I'm resetting. I have the brush here, and then this is one of my favorite little tiny purchases that has actually been a lot of fun, and that is a laser pointer. Right now it's a butterfly because my kids love to play with it. But this is just a cheap little $5 Amazon find. And this is great for when you're doing any sort of spray wall action, or if someone just is on the wall and not quite sure where a hold is, because some of my holds do look pretty similar, like the old Metolius swirls, the green swirl and the black swirl. We've got some up here somewhere. They look pretty similar once you get your shadows on them, so it's nice to have the pointer just kind of help out with the beta a little bit if somebody needs it. Then we have some other bonus things, like for example, we have campus rungs up here. It's just 2 simple moves right there, but it's nice to get a little bit of finger action on there. Hangboard over there. There's a hangboard on the opposite side of that door frame also, a nice wooden one. Then up here we have what we'll call a campus ladder. So super big rungs. I haven't built it all the way up because I ran out of wood. But that's good for hitting some of the bigger muscles, more powerful moves coming from the back, because that's a big weak point for me. And so I wanted somewhere to train that. And also I didn't want really small holds right next to the deck, because of course, if you peel off while campusing, that could be real bad. Speaking of the deck, you'll notice I have a bar and some grip tape up there, because one of the things I really like to do is coming off the 45-degree wall or all the way across the roof, you can actually practice top outs on this. And so if you're an outdoor boulderer, you know, beginning of boulder season, it's sketchy to top out because you haven't been topping out in gyms, because most gyms don't do that anymore. So it's really nice to have somewhere to practice. Some big mantles. You can either grab over the bar, you can treat it as a flat face, you can use the grip tape, you can do heel on, heel off, you can do all sorts of different stuff. And I really like that as just another training opportunity that I have right here at home that translates to outdoors. What else do we have in here? So you'll notice I have some anchors up there. They are not adult friendly, but they're great for my small kiddos. So I can clip them in up there. They can practice their top roping. There's another anchor all the way up on the ceiling in the middle. Can I get that in frame? Boom, right there. And that's great. We use it as a rope swing. We'll hook up gymnastics rings. We'll basically build a Ninja Warrior course out here for my kids, using the swings on the rings, using the crash pads as vault boxes or things to climb over. We've got a balance beam over here. Again, more gymnastics rings to swing on. So it's a really fun space, not just for me to get strong for climbing season, but for my kids to really enjoy running around, getting them into climbing and getting up on these walls, getting them swinging, getting their Ninja Warrior on, and all of that sort of stuff. Speaking of stuff, my favorite bonus out here is, let me see if I can get it. I have a giant projector. So this turns into not only a home gym, but a home theater. So this is the sound bar up here. I've got surround sound back here in the barrel and speaker on either sides. So you move the floor couches over, and then we set up a giant projector screen across that 10-degree wall over there. So this turns into my own little home theater. So it's great for getting psyched for big trips, watching Real Rock, watching all sorts of YouTube documentaries, and all of that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the Home Climbing Wall TV community. Thanks for stopping by to check out this tour. And in the credits, I'm gonna roll some more B-roll of other things I have set up out here that I just forgot to tell you about during the tour. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.